every time I look over at you, somebody's chewing your ear. Is that typical of when you travel to these types of events now and with your position at Capcom?
Yeah, for the entire Ultra Street Fighter 4 location test process, it's definitely been that. People definitely have an opinion. They want to be heard. That's perfectly fine. And it's always really cool to see how passionate people are. I get to hear the struggle firsthand that players experience, but then I also get to hear how, just to hear the general mindset. Some players, they just want an easy way to win, but they don't want to play the best character. They want to play their character, whereas others are like, okay, I think that the changes you made my character the bomb, but needless to say, everyone lets me know how they feel, and it's entertaining at times, and sometimes it's not entertaining.
So I wanted to talk to you about the Capcom Pro Tour. It's a big deal. A lot of people have been looking for something like this to happen, and it finally is. What was the process leading up to? I would imagine Street Fighter 25th Anniversary helped you guys get your feet wet a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so with the Capcom Pro Tour, we were sitting around thinking that there's no reason why fighting games shouldn't be bigger than they are. We all know, all the guys who come out to these events, that this is probably the closest thing you could get to, I guess, like a fighting, like actual fighting, like MMA or boxing or something. It's two guys who go in competing one-on-one, and at the end of the day, one guy emerges a victor and one emerges a loser. There's a lot of great personalities, people who participate, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be broadcasted to a greater amount of people. It's just, we feel that us stepping in can definitely help bring everything together, help create this one cohesive league, and at the end, have everybody fight for something grand. There's also definitely Evo. Evo's huge, and there's also other events that have been doing their thing, and winning those tournaments is definitely awesome as well. It's just adding on the Capcom Pro Tour, and the Capcom Cup and the Grand Finals. It just adds an awesome way to close out the year. Evo is the event for the summer, and then there's also other events like DreamHack Summer, and that also hold true to their region. But we look at Capcom Pro Tour as the way to finish off the entire year for the world.
So it sounds to me like you guys are conscious of the fact that you don't want to step on the toes of the community, or maybe take a little bit of the importance away from these established events. Is that something that you guys actually are conscious of and thinking about?
Definitely. The community has been holding it down for the last 10 plus years. When Capcom wasn't involved, Evo continuously grew. They continuously made their event bigger and better. Final round, same thing. NorCal regionals, SoCal regionals. This event, Texas Showdown, it's like its fourth or fifth. Well, actually, it kind of reset. It's been around since about early 2000s. But there's a lot of these events that have really grown into their own, and there's a lot of character here, and we don't want to lose that. We definitely want to showcase what the fighting game community is all about, and then find a way to broadcast that just to more people in general. We definitely want them to be a part of this, because without them, this probably wouldn't happen.
The Capcom Pro Tour rolled out, and all the events that they're including the ranking system with are community events. Is there any plans to expand that to maybe a more traditional esports outfit?
Well, we are including trade shows, which aren't generally a part of that, right? Like, we have PAX and E3 and things like that are part of Capcom Pro Tour that generally would not be a part of something like this, right? And that's not community. Additionally, with the guys in Europe, there are a lot of established esports events out there that will probably be a part of our event as well, such as a DreamHack winner. The winner of that's a premier event. The winner of that will go to the Capcom Cup Finals. He's a qualified participant. So we're definitely trying to integrate with the esports professionals, but also with the community. We can't leave them behind. We just want this to grow, period.
So what do you guys see 5 years from now for the Capcom Pro Tour? Have you thought that far in advance?
Well, we definitely want this year to be a success, but beyond that, we definitely see this growing into something that people just know. They're going to be the players that they follow, and they're going to be the events they look forward to, and these events themselves will get bigger and everything will just all work out. Like, that's how we see it. We just see it as being bigger and better. And when summer hits, everybody knows where to tune in. July hits, June hits, August hits. You know what event to tune in for to see if your favorite player may eventually make it or not. And then in December, you close the year out.
Now, you didn't get the job at Capcom because you're just a nice guy. You obviously have a lot of history in the fighting game community. Give us your perspective on how things have changed, and feel free to drop some dates from when you started to now. How has the scene evolved?
Well, the scene has definitely evolved in that now there's actually fans who attend events. I mean, when I started at the beginning, everyone who knew you wanted to beat you. There was no person who came there to sign a stick or anything like that. It was like, if anything, they wanted your blood to sign, like their little book of names and then cross you out or something like that. It was very, very competitive and very close-knit. I see nowadays it's very open, with the advent of streaming. Definitely a lot of people who tune in. There's a lot of people who, they don't have the technical ability, but they have the smarts. So there's a lot of people who tune in and give advice and stuff like that, and they want to see the community grow in different ways, and they help in other ways possible. And that's something that I didn't really see before. The only ones who really were about seeing this kind of grow or maintain were those who were closely involved. Nowadays, it's reaching a broader audience. That's definitely a lot more different than it was in the past.
Now, we were talking about how ever since you started working at Capcom, you can no longer compete. Do you miss it?
It's been about a year and 4 months, right? So if you would have asked me this question a year ago, I would have probably have shed some tears. I would have been extremely choked up, a bit sad, because this is what I know. This is what I did for about 20 years, just terrorize. Just compete with everyone, bash heads, and try to come out the victor, playing my oddball teams and characters, and just doing what I like, right? So when it was pulled from me initially, it was crazy. There was a big withdrawal there because that was my identity, so to speak. But being behind the scenes for a year and working on Ultra and still being a part of this, but just in a different capacity, it still gives me the ability to play with players, still attend the event, get the hype live, get that essence. But I just instead of doing everything from the front of the screen, now I'm doing everything from behind the scenes. That's pretty much the big difference.
Speaking of behind the scenes, to a certain degree, is your job on the line? If talk to me a little bit about the fact that there's a little bit more pressure for a game to succeed and for you to be showing face out here and talking to the fans.
Yeah, being the battle director for this game, assistant battle director, I should say, there's a lot of decisions I have to make in regards to giving characters what they want, giving characters what they need to be balanced, right? And then there's the whole idea of balance. And, there's a lot of parts here because, there's fans in Europe, fans in Brazil, fans in Central America, fans in the US, hardcore players in Africa, Japan, Taiwan, you name it. There's a player base somewhere, and everybody has an opinion on how their character should be, and that's normally based on just their scene in general. Like if I go to Brazil, their idea of a top tier may be different than the idea in the US. Same thing in Japan, although there are a few characters who are undeniably at the top, right? So it becomes a matter of making sure that a majority is pleased, because you can't please everyone, but as long as most people have the ability to win and finally play the way they want, I feel that I've succeeded, because then it falls onto the player to put in the time, effort, and work to get better, instead of just the game giving you a hard matchup or something like that by design. Right now, at all the location tests that I've been to, I've talked to a lot of players, and they definitely like the way the game is going. I see that the response is actually quite positive, and people are very excited. So I'm actually eager to see how the game turns out because I'm only getting a certain sample, and it's the real hardcore guys at the tournament. I'm actually eager to see how the online player base feels about the game once it's released. But I'm actually really excited. There's definitely going to be complaints, because characters did get stronger, so people were going to have to learn new matchups and learn new mechanics they didn't know before, and there's going to be an adjustment period that may be frustrating, and I anticipate that. But I do feel that at the end of the day, once people do become accustomed to the game and they learn all the new things, it should be positive. It should definitely be positive.
But what do you expect from Ultra at EVO and at Capcom Pro Tour? How do you think the game is going to shake out?
I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you. Like, the game is, there's just so many variables added. You know, you have the 5 new characters, you have delayed wake up, ultra combo double, red focus. You know, all the characters have been tweaked. You know, there's all kinds of changes that went in there, and it's just going to be really interesting to see which players rise to the top and what character specialists, you know, really shine. I'm really eager to see that. I really don't know how it'll fare, but, you know, let's go.